Hey y'all, it's Jake with another episode of Jake's Country Cooking. I'm super happy to be here with you today. I got a great recipe going on. It's smoked turkey. I've never done it before. I just kind of made it up on the spot, but I'm really excited to try it out. So I got in here 2 turkey thighs that have been brining. Now for the brine I used vinegar, apple juice, salt, peppercorns, allspice, and bay leaf. Now I'll leave all the exact proportions in the description below with the recipe. But first thing I'm going to do is remove this from the liquid right here and make sure to get the bay leaves off. Put that on the cutting board. Now I've left this in the brine for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Some people say you got to do it for like 6. Other people say, you can throw it in for 30 minutes. Whatever works best, but I think a brine always will make it a little bit more tender, a little bit more juicy, so that's why I prefer to use one. Now I'm going to take a towel here, get a nice big piece, paper towel, and then just kind of pat the turkey. Just kind of remove the moisture from it. Now that brine and everything is great, but we just don't want too much of it because that'll kind of prevent it from making the nice crispy skin we want. Okay, got those nice and dried off. Now, I'm going to brush the turkey with some fat. Now I got a mix of canola oil and turkey fat. Now I removed the skin from the turkey and rendered it down with some canola oil and just a tad bit of salt. So I'm going to generously put that over it. Turkey is not a super fatty meat. So it's important to kind of lather it up with some oil. Some people like to leave the skin on. I think it's great for turkey legs, but I don't know, these turkey thighs I've been using, they just looked like, almost like the skin was kind of loose and saggy, and I didn't know if it was going to really work out well and stay on the bird, so I just decided to go with the thighs and remove the fat and then mix it with the canola oil. I'm just going to make sure everything gets a nice hearty coating, and then I'm going to save some for later too, because we're going to apply it again to kind of help crisp up the skin. So now I'm going to take some black pepper and coat the whole thing. Let me get you a better angle. There we go, much better. I'll get some black pepper and coat this thing. Now I know it's tedious to do it freshly ground, but the black pepper freshly ground, I think it has much more flavor than the stuff you can get pre-mixed. Just try to cook that as much as possible. I think turkey is just so great with black pepper. It's my favorite thing to put on there. It's such a simple, beautiful way to prepare it. Now I got some salt here. Now I'm going to add it kind of generously, but I will remember that, I did put some salt in the brine to help loosen it up, so I don't want to put too much because we don't want it to be too salty. But this is a really big piece of meat, so it will accept a good amount of salt. I find that salting is one of the hardest parts of cooking, but usually the best salting just kind of comes by feel. I mean, it's hard to describe how to do it right. It's just you can only start with a little, I guess. That's the best advice I've got. You can start with a little and then just add more. But be careful about adding a bunch and then, because you can't remove salt, you know, unless you're a mad scientist or something. If you know how to, get back to me, but I don't. So I'm just gonna pepper these other sides here. Give them some salt. Now when you're outside, you kind of have to adjust for the wind when you're salting so it hits the meat correctly. Start a little back. Okay, I think these guys are ready to go. But before I throw them on the grill, I'm going to give you all a look at what we're working with. So I got a fire started here. It's a mix between oak and mesquite. You know, I don't know exactly what the temp is. The temperature gauge on this apartment grill is a little bit off, but you know, I can't hold my hand over it, so that we know it's pretty hot. And I got the grate back here, so we're gonna get kind of an indirect heat. So without any further ado, I'm gonna throw these guys on. Now, as you can see, there's kind of a long, thin side and then a thick side right here. And I'm going to put that big, thick side toward the fire so that gets more heat. Now I'm going to add just a few more briquettes. You see the turkey there. I don't know if you can hear it sizzling from this distance, but that's what we want. You know, nothing too crazy loud like it's frying or anything, but you know, I think it's important to get a little bit of the brown going as soon as we get it on the grill. So I'm going to throw a few more briquettes on here, probably just 2 or 3, just to make sure it stays warm. And then on the side here, I'm going to make sure to close this kind of halfway so it gets a little less airflow. Same thing for the chimney here. That's a real important part of the barbecue, is just to make sure to not get too much airflow, so your fire doesn't get too hot and burn out. And so I'm about to go do that, and I'll check back in with you in a little bit. Hey y'all, it's Jake coming back from the grill. It's been about 2.5 hours since I first put the turkey on. I turned it about halfway through, and I basted it with some of that canola oil and fat. But without any further ado, this meat is rated at just under 180 degrees. That's what we want, since it's the dark meat of poultry. And look at that. Oh, man, that looks delicious. Now I'm going to wrap this up in some tin foil and let it rest for about 20-30 minutes. And it's not going to get cold. It actually helps seal in some of the juice and make sure it's extra flavorful. And I would just always recommend to let your stuff rest. So I'm going to try to be as patient as I can with this. And then when I come back for the taste test, I'll be with you again. Hey folks, I'm here with my lovely friend Vanessa. We're here to do the taste test. Take a look at that golden brown. Pieces. Make sure get one with nice skin on it. Oh, yeah, all right, cheers. Whoa. Hell yeah. Well, we are going to munch out. Thank you for staying tuned, everybody. I hope you're inspired to cook today.
Wait, we can see your face.
Bye-bye.